super gay. Oh my God, bruh. Put some WD-40 on that shit. Can I go to the bathroom? The fuck? What are those, bruh? Yo, I was thinking today about how absolutely insane it is that the majority of people wake up every single day and go to a 9-to-5 job they hate. And they think it's just normal. They do it like it's the normal thing that they have to do. Like I could personally never do it again. I'll never go work a 9-to-5 another day in my life. And I know I'll never have to. And that's because when you create skills to make money, there's just some sort of like peace of mind. I think the real financial freedom is just having this skill to know that no matter what happens, you're always going to be able to make money again. I look slummed out, dog. But I think that's where the real freedom comes from. I've only had like 2 real jobs in my life where I was actually formally employed. The first one was I was like 16 at a dollar store more in my hometown. I mean, it was all right, but yeah, never gonna do that again. I had that job for maybe like 3 months. And then the second job was back in 2020, like right when COVID, it started when I was at that job. I was at Sherwin-Williams paint store. I think I was there for maybe 4 months, give or take. So the total accumulated time that I've been at an actual formally employed job is about 6 months, which is absolutely insane to me because when I really think about that, 6 months out of my entire life, which has been 29 years. Yeah, 29 years. 6 months out of that, I've had a job. And I graduated high school like 16th in my class, and that's really not that crazy because there was only 46 people in my class, very small town. So, and I didn't go to college. Well, I went to college for like 2 semesters, and then I dropped out. And I didn't even go to college for any reason other than to just do it. I could tell my parents were probably a little worried about me. I'd been pursuing music for God knows how long, and nothing was really happening, at least financially. So I took a crack at school. I graduated high school in 2013, and then I went to college, or I tried it in 2017. Gave it 2 semesters and I dropped out. And the funny thing about me dropping out, I was like 2 weeks before finals, and I'm sitting in the library and we're taking some other test. It's not the finals, but some test for, I can't remember what class it was. It was me and my buddy. And I got a text in the middle of that test from another friend who said, hey, you want to go to a Grammy party? And I was like, a Grammy party? Well, yeah, fuck yeah, I want to go to a Grammy party. I asked him when it was, and the date fell on finals week. So I had to make a decision. I was like, do I go to this Grammy party, or do I take my finals? I was like, fuck these finals, dude. So I said yes. I looked at my friend who was in the library with me while we were testing. I said, I'm done. He goes, what do you mean, like with the test already? I was like, no, I think I'm just done with this altogether. So I just closed out of it. And then I sat in the library to wait on him to finish. And then I left. And here we are. We're living in Brickell, Miami now. You don't have to be a fucking scholar, bro. You don't. You just gotta find a way. But anyways, back to the core story. I just could never work a 9-to-5 ever again. And I have such peace of mind knowing that I'm never gonna have to. And that's because I've developed skills and a way of thinking that allows me to know that I can make money no matter what the situation is. That's real freedom. Yes, having multiple 6 figures, 7 figures in your bank account is obviously freedom too, but the real freedom, again, comes from no matter what happens, even if all that shit goes away tomorrow, I can make it back. Or I can at least get myself back on my feet. Might walk this way. They're doing like a music festival over here. It's crazy. I don't really vlog like this, so seeing everybody like eyeball you when you're doing it is a good confidence exercise, I guess. So when I left my last job, it was at Sherwin-Williams. I left it because I was doing music. I was producing music, I was an artist, I was doing all the shit. And I had produced an EP for a band called Pecos and the Rooftops. They're a Texas country band, they've done very, very well for themselves. And they ended up firing their drummer. And I saw the guitar player posted an ad on his Instagram story. And I just swiped up and said, I'll do it right now. And he immediately responded. He was like, no shit, let me call you. And he was in the shower when he called me. He was like super urgent about it. So he called me. He's like, are you for real? I was like, yeah, I mean, I pretty much played the drums on the entire project anyways. So I was like, yeah, I'll do it. And he's like, okay, well, I'm gonna talk to the rest of the guys and see what they think about it. I ended up sending him a video of me playing a couple songs. And they were like, bro, you have to come to Lubbock. We have to get this going. So I drove all the way to Lubbock. I stayed there for about a week and a half and essentially like tried out for the band, but I think they already knew what was gonna happen. And they were like, yeah, we wanna have you. And I said, okay. They were like, well, what do you need? I was like, well, if you just replace how much I'm making at Sherwin-Williams right now, I'm down. I'll quit the job right now and I'll go on tour. And he was like, done. And at the time, I was only making like $1,500 a month from Sherwin-Williams. And that was in 2020, spring of 2020. Fast forward, I stayed with that band for 2 years, and that band exploded. We were in a crusty ass Ford van in the middle of the summer, 7 dudes, no AC, touring all over the US, and we were scrubbing it. But within the year, before the end of 2020, we went from that shitty van to a nice ass Sprinter van, all the way to a bus. We were touring the US in a bus, bro, sleeping on a tour bus. Crazy moves, like insane moves. And the rest of 2021, yeah, we were on the bus. I visited more states in the US just to play music in front of thousands of people than I did just to simply visit the state itself. And that was probably the most money I had made up until this point, because I was on a salary making $4K a month. Just to like party, wake up, play drums, do the thing. But then I ended up leaving that band because, you know, at the end of the day, I wanted to be an artist. I didn't want to be a drummer for someone else's band. I loved the guys, I loved the opportunity, but it was time for me to move on, I guess. So I left the band, and this was in late 2021, the beginning of 2022. And I began pursuing my solo career. Again, I was already doing it before I joined this band, so it kind of set me back. I lost a lot of momentum, but I was like, you know what? I can't waste any more time. I've got to make this shit happen. And I ended up moving to LA shortly after I left the band in early 2022. Moved to LA. It was a really rough time. If you move far away from home into a different city and you're absolutely broke when you do it, not a good idea. It's super stressful and you can't really enjoy the move. I think things just didn't go the right way. Things didn't go the way they had planned. I was gonna stay with my so-called manager at the time. And he like freaked out on me, kicked me out. Thankfully, I had friends that lived in LA that said, yeah, bro, just come crash on our couch as long as you need. You don't have to pay anything right now. Like just get yourself back on your feet. Shout out Cross, shout out Frank, if you're watching this. And that's what I did. I stayed over at their place for quite a while, and then I was like, you know what? I gotta get back to Texas. I already had some good things going. I left it on a whim of an opportunity that I thought was gonna turn out great. It didn't. Meanwhile, I left my whole band, my entire team in Texas. Like I just left them. So I went back to Texas, and not soon after my birthday happened, it was April 5th is my birthday. Had a nice little party at my mom's house, invited all my homies. And then the next day, I went to a bar to further celebrate my birthday. It was a bar that we used to always go to on Wednesdays because it was college night. I don't know if it was because I'd been eating really clean when I was in LA, or if I really just, like, I don't know, if I got drugged. Regardless, I went to the bar. I didn't drink that much, so I thought, and I got alcohol poisoning. I really think I might have got drugged, but I can't really confirm that, so I'm not gonna say it. But I wake up the very next day on my friend's couch. I don't know where my car's at. I don't know how I got there. I don't know when I got there. And as a matter of fact, I don't even remember any of the night before. It was all gone, deleted out of my brain, bro. as soon as I woke up, I was very confused, and I ran directly outside, and I laid down face first in the backyard, and I puked up bile for like 5 hours straight, bro. It sucked. It was terrible. And this wasn't the first time that had ever happened to me. I'd actually woken up at the same friend's place from alcohol poisoning like 2 or 3 times before. That happened like years apart, but man, they're bumping, bro. Always bumping. I know that shit's good. I know that shit's gas too. And as I laid there just puking my guts up for 5 hours straight, I just decided this is the last time. I felt like absolute dog. It felt terrible, bro. I don't know if you've ever had alcohol poisoning or possibly been drugged before. You feel terrible, absolutely terrible. I just said, I can't do this anymore. I can't. There's no reason to be doing this shit. I was already 10 years out of high school. I had told myself when I graduated that I was going to be at a certain place in life at the 10-year reunion. And lo and behold, I was in the exact same spot that I was when I left high school. So it all hit me pretty hard at that moment. And that was my turning point. I was never really an alcoholic, but it just took that moment for me to realize that there's got to be more. I could probably do a lot more than what I'm doing for myself right now. And from that moment, I made a lot of shifts in my mind. I had been very aware of my mindset from a very young age, because at 15, I got introduced to multi-level marketing, Herbalife, if you've ever heard of it. And my mentors at the time put me on Jim Rohn, some other dudes, Eric Thompson. And so I'd always kind of been aware of my mindset and how powerful it is and how important it is in my personal development. Not a lot of kids my age were doing personal development back then. And when I say my age and back then, I graduated in 2013. I'm kind of old. So I just tapped back into that because I had lost that for years. And I just focused. Hold on, there's a fucking. Super gay. But I was essentially having to detox from the bullshit. I had to quit watching so many movies. I sold my Nintendo Switch. I quit playing the video games. I abruptly cut off a lot of friends. Obviously, what I was doing, it wasn't getting me anywhere other than puking my guts up in my friends' yards. So it got to the point where I was so sensitive, like mentally sensitive about this stuff, that I would be sitting in a room with people, and if they were talking about something as stupid as like their vape, just something that has no meaning at all, just, oh my God, bruh, put some WD-40 on that shit. Anyways, if they were talking about something as simple as like a vape, I would just like cringe, and I would get physically uncomfortable being in the room, because I'm like, the fuck are we talking about? Like, why are we talking about this? Because if I wanted to bring up something that was more like, yo, let's talk about ideas. I want to make some money. I want to try and do this thing. What about this business idea? Whether they were retarded or not, I was trying to think of ideas. And people only wanted to talk about gossip and drama and their fucking juice. And it just physically made me uncomfortable, to the point to where it happened with everything, dude. If no one was talking about something productive or about trying to progress, I just couldn't be in the room anymore. Like, it physically hurt. It was weird. But that's essentially what I had to go through. I had to cleanse my mind. I couldn't watch dumb shows. Couldn't watch brain rot. I just fed my mind with information and powerful messages to inspire me to do more, do better. And that happened for 2 years. And I was still juggling being in the music industry while I was doing that. And then early last year came, and I decided, nah, I can't do this shit anymore. I gotta start an online business. I gotta make some money. I can't be broke anymore. I've been working on my mind. I've been studying about online business, principles, things of that nature, and I think it's just time to give it a try. This music thing, it was working to a certain degree. I mean, I had a lot of opportunities. I did a lot of really cool things, and I could show that stuff another time, but it just wasn't making any money. So, like I said, it was time to switch it up and go all in on the business. And that decision, bro, I cannot believe, like, the alcohol poisoning was what really, like, was my turning point, it was my rock bottom. But that decision to go all in on that one thing was the actual life changer. Because even though I had changed what was going on up here, you're still running on a treadmill if you're trying to do 40 million things at once, bro. So again, turning point was alcohol poisoning. The life changer was genuinely when I made the decision to go all in on that one thing, which was the online business, which is what I do now. And I'd always had the belief that you can make a shit ton of money. I've seen it with my own eyes. When I was 15 years old, I was in that one meeting where the dude was like, I made 20K a month. I was like, what? That's a thing? Now, to me, it's like, that's not even really big numbers, but I always knew it was real. But it wasn't until I had my first 6K month from internet money where I was like, oh, like I know I'm gonna make 10K. I know I'm gonna make 20K a month, whatever it is. But when it actually started entering my bank account, I was like, oh shit, like this, it actually shifted my entire brain to understanding it's not like a dream anymore, it's real. Like this is actually happening. And fast forward to now, it's been 9 months and a little over $120,000 has been made. Bro, I've never made that much, never even come close to making that much money in my life. But now, I can't even fathom going to a 9 to 5 again. Like, why would I ever need to do that? Not because I have some money in my bank account, but because I learned how to materialize 6 figures from a fucking laptop. Why do I need to go clock in and be a bitch to some other guy? Be like, can I go to the bathroom? The fuck? No, bro. So, all that to say that you don't have to come from much. You don't have to be a scholar. You don't have to be the smartest guy in the room. I certainly am not, wasn't, probably never will be. But you just gotta have a will, and you gotta find that fucking way, because there is a way. I come from a small town. I think that the population's like 777 or some shit like that right now. And I live in Brickell, Miami, bro. It's definitely possible. There's no reason for it to not be. I'm gonna cross this road real quick. Bro, look at my what are those, bro? Look at the Reebok socks on, it's crazy. But you don't have to come from much. You really just gotta want it. I mean, of course, there's so many little things that you need to do in between the wanting it and actually having it. But the most important thing is you've gotta make a shift. You gotta change your routine. You gotta change what you're doing if you want a different outcome. And you gotta want it really bad. Really, really bad. I wanted it more than anything. And this life is crazy. If I want to wake up an hour later, I have the freedom to do that. And even though that's the smallest little thing that I could even think of right now, like waking up an hour later just because I want to, that freedom of choice is what makes all this shit worth it. Whether I actually wake up an hour later or not. You can't do that when you've got a job. You've got to be a little bitch. You got to show up. Because if you don't, they're going to give you a little strike, and then you're going to lose your job, and they're going to take your little paycheck away from you. Who the fuck? Who wants that? I don't want that. So, anyways, I'm about to pull up back to my apartment. I'm gonna quit yapping. I'll see y'all next time.